when people struggle with addiction and mental health, that they really have to find that, and that's the thing that will save people. Is you have to think back in your life and think like, what is the one place and the one thing in life that always made me happy, and especially as a kid, because it was the second time I went to rehab is when I realized water was my like safe place. Cause I jumped off. I was the first one to jump off this big wharf, and I was not a kid to do something first, and I didn't care. Like I just wanted to get in the water. My counselor was there, my rec therapist, and she was like, you know, you're not very. I was not a very happy girl then. I didn't smile ever, and she said you came up above wharf with the biggest smile I've ever seen on your face. I never cared. I was like whatever, but now I remembered that, and it always stuck with me. And I remembered that, like the water, just even the sound of it. I love it. I was diagnosed with BPD, borderline personality, when I was like 17, 18, and it's definitely affected my relationships. I can't sustain them very well. I've definitely struggled with addiction quite a bit, and it's affected my schooling and being able to work and keep my feet on the ground. My BPD comes from a lot of like abuse, like sexual abuse. Sex isn't always like the easiest thing for me to have. I get really like worked up whenever I have to have sex, which is a big part of like addiction. I used to be an escort. I I used to self harm a lot. I don't anymore. Just trying to deal with everything in my life. I also have PTSD too, which affects everything in my life, like big sounds or like trying to walk around and even like meet people. Like it always feels like people are, and the BPD, it always makes it seem like people are like against you. It's like the world's kind of set in like angels and demons, and I fight it a lot. I struggled with addiction since I was like 12 years old. And my whole life, I was like, I'm never, ever, ever do anything to a man or anybody for drugs or money to get drugs. And that was always like my beat on the ground. That was always like the one thing I would never do. And then, you know, it's started here and there. And I just like minimize it. And then, like, that was 5 years ago. I ended up like being really, really hurt and robbed and like beaten and by men. And it got to the point where it was just like I don't care about what I'm putting into my body, and I don't care what people are doing to my body, and I should, and it's hurting me. It's like I gotta stop the pain now and stop making more pain and try to make happiness for myself. I made the connection between my addiction and my mental health and prostitution probably about 3 years ago. The first step to getting better is admitting. And once I admitted that it was all connected, it was easier to keep moving on and finding other ways to get better and find happiness. And yeah, sex isn't supposed to be a bad thing. Like it's not supposed to be something that you're looked down on. It's definitely caused me to be assaulted quite a few times because of I want to do whatever I can to make that person want me. My issues affect my relationships with women a lot because women don't trust me. I find because I sleep around so much, and I've slept with people's boyfriends for money. Yeah, and especially in my mental health too. Like I get like explosive anger, and I'm always like really sensitive, and people don't always want to deal with that, right? Trying to have one relationship with someone, like if I meet somebody I really like them, I sleep with them, and they like say they don't talk to me for 2 days, like I'm just like, okay, they're over, and I'll go sleep with someone else. And then it's just like always like a cycle of me not being able to sustain relationships because I'm always trying to sleep with other people because I want them to like me. I started looking for help probably about 3 or 4 months ago. It's taken a while, like I've gotten in and out, in and out. I just didn't want to be another statistic. I just didn't want it. I didn't want that in my life anymore. I wanted love, not money. My addictions counselor, she's amazing. I heard about the sexual health center through one of my friends who was also an escort that said that you could get like support and services, which I didn't even know existed. When it comes to the shame of like prostitution, I used to use drugs, but now I use people like that connect with me and help me. Like NA really helps me. Narcotics Anonymous. No one in my group was an escort themselves, but everybody in there can understand doing things that they don't want to do and they would never do in a normal situation, being a normal person in society. I deal with my with being sober and not selling myself and stuff from with writing a lot and friendships and just constantly like walking, like going for walks and like exercising, like trying to eat healthy, reading, just anything healthy that'll keep me away from it. I like to be super open, tell my story about things so that people know, like, and that they're not alone. I definitely thought I was alone for a long time. I feel like there's not a lot of talk. Like, people don't talk about prostitution enough. Just getting the word out and not normalizing that prostitution is okay, but normalizing it that we're not people that deserve to die. And you know what I mean? Because I find that the media really pushes that. Like, murderers kill prostitutes because no one cares. It's a real thing and it's a real struggle. It'd be really cool if there was services just revolving around prostitution and helping people out of that life. Just anybody that's struggling with any of the issues that I spoke about, like, they're not alone. There's people that want to help and that will understand, and that there shouldn't be any more shame on it. I feel like I've come pretty far in the last 3 months compared to where I was. I'm looking forward to sustaining like one relationship with a man and finding somebody that like I don't want to hide my past. I want them to be accepting of it, which has been very hard. Like that's the first thing I mention to people when I first meet them. I know that's really, but it is because that was my life. I'm no different than any other girl. I'm proud that I'm doing this. I hope this helps people understand.